What is happening historically?
Historically?
You can't get this wrong because this is fact.
Yeah, but I reckon I'll get the details.
Oh God, okay.
I obviously know what happens. I mean, I do the subject.
Tell us the historical context. I will tell you.
Right, it's 1937, just before Japan invaded Nanking.
Chinese playwright, Chen Bai Chen.
Right before the rape of Nanking.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what
It was written in 1939. It's set in 1937 at the beginning of the Second Sino-Japanese War, the War of Resistance to Japan, it's called. And we're performing the first act of the play, in which everyone's migrating away by train. In November, coincidentally, not coincidentally at all actually, a month before the Nanking Massacre.
Where did we begin to devise? Like, how did we start this process?
With pain.
With pain?
No pain, no gain.
Where did we begin to devise? Alright, well, we read the play. Well, we had a lot of reading to do beforehand about the Chinese history of not only the war, but also Chinese theater, because it's a naturalistic play. So we had to read about naturalism in China and the May 4th movement and the cultural revolutions and all that leading up to 1939.
We looked at a lot of sort of archive footage.
Just research on
Research archive footage to get an idea of what happened and the scale of what happened.
And also our view on it as well.
Yeah.
And then once we came together, we sort of we read it out once, and then we started thinking about how does it make us feel? What do we think the play's about? That was pretty much the first big question.
We looked to see if we could, as predominantly Western students, could put on a Chinese play when we're not Chinese. We weren't alive in 1937, so there's like lots of like difficulties. So we wanted to see how we could do it without, I guess, offending.
Yeah, we wanted to be respectful and yet creative with what we could do.
It was a bit of a balancing act on the sort of the
Quite balancing.
the grey area.
What we could do, what we couldn't do, what we wanted to do.
The progress happened in short bursts. We'd seem to make a decision sort of every week, only for it to be countermanded the very next week. It was tough. There were some hard times. There were some wild times.
Lots of ideas. Lots of ideas.
Ideas shut down.
Shut down. Ideas raised up again.
We felt
Resurrected ideas.
Yeah. We tried out. We experimented
did.
so much. Yeah.
We experimented with a lot of physical theatre as well, which was good, and that sort of developed into some interesting dance moves. Not to ruin it, but
Yeah. No spoilers.
So there's a tragic event that occurs at the end of scene 1 of the play. Following that, the cast jumps into sort of a dance routine in which
when we were
choreographed.
choreographing it, it was we wanted to display the ambivalence.
in this dance routine we comedically and physically represent the actions in which the actions of the tragic event.
Bring this contrast, we make the audience realise the extent of what has happened at this moment through the comedy in our dance.
With the aim of making them laugh to then force them to focus on the events in which we are actually portraying.
yeah.
So,
Is that all you have to say?
yeah.
Why 80s menace? Well, that's a loaded question. First of all,
In
why
fact, that was my nickname in secondary school.
80s menace? Yeah.
White 80s man.
White 80s menace.
We're using the 80s menace to satirise the ambivalence that people in our generation may possess.
Because first of all, why 80s? Why 80s music?
The main reason we chose the 80s specifically was because it kind of implemented a time of very heavy political shifts within kind of Western culture, and then we felt like that was a good balance with the trade-off of 30s China in terms of seeing Japanese War late in the 30s, as well as the effects of the Great Depression on China and how that affected the foreign investment that was coming in. And then we chose to take both of those and then realised that we were looking at it from a 2017 perspective, which essentially globally now is one of the most crazy places to be.
Yeah, we wanted to respect the cultural appropriation, and we're using 80s to kind of connect it to our own experience.
Almost as like a stepping stone between our generation and 1937 Nike.
So that's really why we chose the 80s. We felt like it really fitted and it helped with the satire.
Yeah, we talk about this thing about intrusion, cultural intrusion, which we acknowledged we were doing from the beginning because this play is from China and it's translated from Chinese. It serves a lot of purposes, nostalgia. Why music in particular is because it's sort of escapism music, and that's sort of what we're doing. What we're satirizing is the escapism of people who are ambivalent to other cultures.
Okay, now, big question. Why hat? Go on.
Okay.
I mean, like party hats are a way to even further show that we're showing that we're celebrating instead of actually respecting what has happened. Like the satire of us celebrating and being awfully ignorant to the Chinese experience.
Why hats? Why birthday party celebration, eh? Well, it's mostly the satire again, because in the sense that we want to satirize this idea of a Western identity that is unwilling to engage with other cultures such as China.
We've basically just gone so overt with
Over the top.
highlighting that we're performing a satirical play and the fact that we're not doing it naturalistically. We don't fully know the context. Well, we don't. We have no idea.
And by having it as sort of a celebration of going west, of a westernizing, by making it a birthday party, then it sort of ridiculizes and exaggerates that aspect into a satirical sort of just poorly in poor taste, but not. Don't do it. Oh.
So, the train.
So the train, we spent weeks discussing how we were gonna, how we were gonna create a train, because obviously it's set, well you won't know yet, but it's set on a train, and so we were discussing ideas of how the audience can be the train and things like that, and
Or
we have
suitcases.
or suitcases to like show the idea of travel. And in the end, we came up with using a toy train, as it shows how us as Westerners in the past, and possibly even still, have toyed with China, using their resources and reflecting also on things such as the Opium War. On the hats, and the hats. Mental, absolutely mental. Ow!
It's the end.
Now, are you ready for the end clip?